The warmth of a midsummer afternoon often brings with it a sense of quiet reflection, a moment to pause and consider the ties that bind families together across generations. On this particular day, as millions around the world mark the occasion of Father's Day, the focus inevitably turns to one of the most visible families on the global stage. It is a day dedicated to celebrating paternal bonds, remembering those who have passed, and navigating the often complex dynamics that define the modern household. For the British royal family, these annual milestones are never merely private moments of affection. Instead, they are played out before a global audience, captured in carefully curated imagery and analysed for every hidden nuance, every subtle shift in allegiance, and every unspoken truth. This year, the occasion carries a distinct weight, arriving at a time when the institution is grappling with deep internal divisions and preparing for a summer that promises to test the strength of its foundations. The visual narratives put forward by the different royal households offer a fascinating glimpse into the current state of the monarchy, revealing an institution divided not just by geography, but by fundamental philosophies of duty, privacy, and public presentation. Before we delve deeper into the fascinating stories behind these photographs and what they signal for the future of the House of Windsor, please take a brief moment to support the channel by clicking the subscribe button. By subscribing, you will stay fully updated on all our deep dives into royal history, exclusive analyses, and the unfolding drama behind the palace gates. To truly understand the significance of this day, one must look back at the long and often fraught history of royal fatherhood, a tradition that has rarely been characterized by simple warmth or domestic bliss. Historically, the relationships between British monarchs and their heirs have been marked by tension, rivalry, and a strict adherence to duty over personal emotion. We often forget that the modern expectation of a gentle, hands-on father is a relatively recent concept within the palaces of London. For generations, royal childhoods were defined by governance, protocol, and a deliberate distance designed to prepare young princes for the heavy burden of the crown. This legacy of stern fatherhood has cast a long shadow over the current generation, shaping the personalities and the parenting styles of those who now stand at the helm of the institution. As we observe the latest public offerings from the family, it becomes clear that the echoes of the past are still very much present, influencing how today's royal fathers choose to project themselves to the world, and how they attempt to rewrite the narrative for their own children. The complexity of these dynamics is beautifully illustrated by a historic anecdote concerning King George VI, a monarch whose personal struggles were famously brought to light in the modern era. He was a man who inherited a throne he never sought, inheriting along with it the deep psychological scars of a highly demanding childhood. It was widely rumored that his father, King George V, maintained a terrifying presence in the lives of his children, allegedly expressing a desire that his sons should fear him just as he had feared his own father. This atmosphere of intense pressure and emotional restraint was believed by many contemporary observers to be the root cause of the severe stammer that plagued George VI throughout his life, a physical manifestation of the immense anxiety definition of a royal upbringing during that era. Interestingly, the legacy of that specific struggle extended beyond the palace walls into the lives of everyday individuals who found themselves connected to the court, demonstrating how the personal trials of the sovereign could influence the methods of treatment and support available to the wider public at the time, in stark contrast to the rigid, often fearful structures of the 20th century. The contemporary royal family finds itself attempting to balance the preservation of ancient traditions with the demands of a modern, media-savvy public. Today, the choice of a single photograph can serve as a powerful declaration of intent, a way to signal continuity or, conversely, a desire to break free from the constraints of the past. As the public eagerly dissects the latest images released by the various branches of the family, the underlying tension between different philosophies of monarchy becomes increasingly apparent. On one side stands an enforcement of traditional values, military duty, and structured continuity, while on the other, a deliberate embrace of informality, modern celebrity lifestyle, and emotional openness is proudly displayed. This clash of visual languages is not merely an aesthetic choice, it is a reflection of a deeper struggle for relevance and survival in a changing world. An overture to a much larger narrative that is set to unfold in the coming months as distant family members prepare to return to the United Kingdom. The delicate balance between traditional duty and modern image-making is brought into sharp focus when one examines the first of the major photographs released on this Father's Day, an image shared by the official royal family channels. The photograph depicts King Charles as a young prince alongside his late father, Prince Philip, captured in the year 1971. It is a striking composition, showing the young prince receiving his Royal Air Force wings at Cranwell, both father and son standing proudly in their military uniforms. The accompanying caption speaks of celebrating all fathers and offers a poignant thought for those who wish they could be with their dads. On the surface, it is a flawless tribute, a masterclass in evoking a sense of historical continuity and shared national service. Yet, beneath the polished exterior lies a history of well-documented personal friction and emotional distance. It is an open secret that King Charles endured a deeply complicated relationship with the Duke of Edinburgh, a father whose demanding nature and rigid expectations often clashed with the more sensitive disposition of his eldest son. Biographers have frequently recounted how a stern letter from Prince Philip regarding the necessity of finalizing his marriage to Lady Diana Spencer became a source of intense personal resentment for Charles, who reportedly carried the document in his pocket for years, presenting it to confidants as proof that his fateful martial decisions were driven by parental pressure rather than personal choice. While the king's tribute looks back toward a bygone era of military discipline, Kensington Palace chose a radically different visual language for its Father's Day release, delivering a powerful message about the future of the institution. The never-before-seen photograph features Prince William alongside Princess Charlotte, captured within the private gardens of Kensington Palace. Shot by photographer Matt Porteous, the image stands out for its fascinating duality. Prince William is presented in the full, magnificent ceremonial dress of the Welsh Guards, complete with medals across his chest, a brilliant star sash, and the Order of the Garter Sword at his side. Beside this display of ancient state authority stands his young daughter, looking up with an expression of pure affection. The message accompanying the image is highly personal, signed with the initials of Catherine, George, Charlotte, and Louis, wishing a happy birthday and Father's Day to the best papa in the world. This photograph is a highly strategic piece of communication, illustrating perfectly why the Prince and Princess of Wales have invested so heavily in digital media platforms to control their public narrative. By managing these channels directly, they ensure that their images cannot be dissected or reinterpreted in the manner of a television interview. The decision to feature Prince William in full military regalia on an occasion traditionally celebrated with casual attire is a deliberate and meaningful choice. There must have been a considerable temptation to present a more relaxed image, perhaps showing the prince in jeans and a t-shirt, playing football with his children in a display of ordinary domesticity. Instead, the image firmly establishes his position as the future sovereign, combining the gravity of royal duty with the warmth of a loving father. It is a visual declaration that the monarchy can successfully encompass both tradition and tenderness within a single frame, reassuring the public of a stable and continuous line of succession. This carefully balanced presentation serves as an implicit defense of the institutional status quo, positioning the Wales household as the true guardians of royal dignity. The calm waters of this traditional presentation were soon rippled by the release of a third photograph, originating from across the Atlantic, which served to highlight the profound ideological divide within the family. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle chose this moment to share a highly informal portrait, featuring the prince in exceptionally casual clothing, surrounded by his children in a setting that emphasized natural comfort over institutional splendor. The caption, declaring how lucky the family is to have him, presented a stark contrast to the structured formality of the Kensington Palace image. This calculated informality is textbook positioning for the Sussex household, designed to send a clear message to a global audience. The visual subtext suggests that while one brother is trapped within the rigid confines of an ancient institution, the other has successfully broken free to build an authentic, joyful life centered around genuine emotional connection. It portrays a family that does not care for smart uniforms or rigid protocol, preferring instead the simple realities of bare feet and messy hair. However, this presentation of idyllic domestic bliss carries its own heavy burden of irony, particularly when viewed against the backdrop of the couple's fractured relations with their own paternal figures. The public cannot help but recall the deep alienation between Meghan Markle and her father, Thomas Markle, whose ongoing health struggles have played out in an agonizingly public fashion over recent years. Similarly, Prince Harry's written reflections on his own father have been characterized by a startling degree of public criticism, ranging from accusations of emotional coldness to specific mockery regarding the king's personal habits and perceived weaknesses. The contrast between the loving father celebrated in the photograph and the bitter family disputes detailed in Prince Harry's memoir creates a profound tension that undermines the simple narrative of family harmony. This competing imagery is far more than a simple social media rivalry. It represents a significant prelude to the major events anticipated in the coming months. Reports have increasingly focused on the planned return of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to the United Kingdom, an upcoming visit that many observers believe marks the beginning of a full-scale effort to rehabilitate their public standing within the country. This return is not merely a brief personal visit, it represents a substantial concession by King Charles, who has reportedly made accommodations available to the couple within a royal palace. The decision has sparked a fierce internal debate within the royal household, highlighting a deep division between those who advocate for a conciliatory approach and those who believe that a firm line must be maintained. Prince William is understood to be deeply opposed to any moves that might give the Sussexes a renewed platform, viewing their previous public criticisms as an absolute betrayal of trust that should preclude any return to official royal life. The tension surrounding this decision underscores the high stakes involved, as the family prepares to navigate a summer that will test the very limits of its unity and leadership. The internal friction within the House of Windsor regarding the upcoming summer visit reflects a much deeper conflict over the very definition of royal privacy and public service. For Prince William, the primary concern remains the potential for the Sussexes to establish a dangerous precedent, utilizing official royal backdrops to bolster their commercial endeavors and public standing abroad. The fears are not unfounded, as previous instances have shown that any public appearance by the California-based couple instantly shifts the media spotlight away from the core working members of the family. The current arrangement, which reportedly sees King Charles offering an apartment to his younger son at a prominent royal residence, essentially grants Prince Harry a permanent base of operations within the United Kingdom once more. This move threatens to undo the carefully established boundaries drawn during the historic Sandringham summit, where the terms of their departure were meant to be absolute. If Prince Harry is able to leave personal belongings, maintain a semi-permanent residence, and bring his children to stay within the secure perimeter of a royal palace, the distinction between a working royal and a private celebrity becomes dangerously blurred, creating an ongoing headache for the future administration of the monarchy. The strategic management of the younger royal generation highlights a fascinating contrast in philosophy between the two brothers. Prince William and Catherine have long adhered to a strict policy regarding the public exposure of Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. This approach, inherited from the media agreements struck during William's own youth, relies on a system of controlled access. By providing high-quality official photographs at regular intervals, such as birthdays, holidays, and major state occasions, the Wales household effectively satisfies public curiosity and destroys the commercial market for unauthorized paparazzi photographs. Because the public already knows what the children look like, there is very little value in a blurry, long-lens shot taken on a private outing. This has allowed the young royals to enjoy a remarkably normal childhood, shielded from the constant surveillance that plagued previous generations. Conversely, the approach taken across the Atlantic has relied on a strategy of strict scarcity, which critics argue has inadvertently created a massive curiosity gap in the media landscape. By consistently withholding the faces of Archie and Lilibet, or showing them only from behind in heavily stylized social media posts, a heightened state of public anticipation has been cultivated. This marketing dynamic makes any clear image of the children incredibly valuable to global media outlets. Consequently, the upcoming trip to the United Kingdom, which marks a rare return for the children, is poised to trigger a massive media frenzy. Photographers and press agencies are well aware of the immense financial value attached to the first clear, contemporary shots of the Sussex children on British soil. This inevitable feeding frenzy stands in direct opposition to the couple's stated desire to flee the United Kingdom in search of a quieter, more private life for their offspring, raising difficult questions about the long-term sustainability of their public relations strategy. The broader implications of these familial disputes are already reflecting heavily on the public standing of the institution as a whole. Recent statistical data and public opinion polling indicate a noticeable decline in overall support for the monarchy, with approval figures dipping significantly compared to the high watermarks seen during the late Queen Elizabeth's reign. Analysts suggest that a substantial portion of this public dissatisfaction stems directly from the perceived mishandling of internal family crises, particularly regarding the handling of Prince Andrew and the ongoing public drama surrounding Prince Harry. The public's perception of justice and accountability within the palace walls is critical to maintaining its moral authority. When the institution is seen as overly conciliatory to members who have publicly criticized its foundations or brought disrepute upon its name, it risks alienating the very public whose consent allows it to exist. This decline in public enthusiasm comes at a complex time for King Charles, who must navigate these personal dilemmas while maintaining the dignity of the crown. The monarch's natural inclination toward reconciliation as a father frequently clashes with his structural responsibilities as the head of state. While a father may wish to heal a rift and welcome a wandering son back into the family fold, a sovereign must consider the long-term stability of the crown and the feelings of the British public. many of whom feel personally slighted by the criticisms leveled against their country and institutions in global media. Prince William's more rigid stance reflects the perspective of a future king who will ultimately have to inherit the consequences of any precedents set today, making the generational divide within the palace all the more acute, despite the complex legal and constitutional mechanisms that protect the immense wealth and structure of the monarchy, such as the vast holdings of the Crown estate. The true currency of the modern royal family remains public affection and trust. The complex financial entanglement between the sovereign and the state ensures that the institution is unlikely to face any immediate structural threat, yet a monarchy that loses its emotional connection with the people becomes a vulnerable entity. The contrasting images presented on this Father's Day are not merely entries in a temporary social media battle, they are enduring artifacts of a pivotal moment in royal history, representing two